Okay, so in this video we're going to talk about making and driving ZIVA bones. So just like with tissues, you can convert any arbitrary Maya polymesh into a ZIVA bone. So what I'll do is convert this guy, the humerus bone, into a ZIVA bone. So under the ZIVA menu, under Add Simulation Component, this time I'll select Bone. And you can see it added it successfully because we have these white dots on the vertices of the mesh. And you can also select more than one object at a time, so I can select these two objects at the same time, and then again under the ZIVA menu select Bone. And as these objects are not tissue objects and there's nothing driving the bones at the moment, if I play back the timeline, nothing's going to happen, which is fine. But the difference between ZIVA tissues and ZIVA bones is that tissues are dynamic objects, so they're simulated, whereas bones are kinematic objects. Which leaves the question of, well, then how do you drive ZIVA bones? And so basically any way that you can move a mesh in Maya currently is a valid way of driving a ZIVA bone. So there's three common ways of moving meshes in Maya that are relevant to ZIVA. The first is by manipulating the transform of the bone, whether that's setting keys, or whether it's a parent constraint, or inheriting the transform from a parent. That's the first way. The second is via a deformer, like a skin cluster or a blend shape or a lattice, that sort of thing. And then the third is via a direct connection to the in-mesh attribute on the shape node. So that's usually an alembic, but it can also be from the outgoing connection of another mesh or something like that. So now I can go over some typical ways of driving ZIVA bones. So in the scene I've got some other bits and pieces here, so one of which is a hierarchy of animated joints. So you can see this is just a range of movement really for the upper body. And so what I'll do here is connect the meshes to the joint hierarchy via a skin cluster. So just select both objects and then skin, bind skin, selected joints and classic linear, that's fine, bind skin. And I'll do the same to these two down here. And now when I scrub the timeline, you can see the ZIVA draw stuff on top of the bone geometry moving along as the joints animate. So that is one way. I'll just unbind the skins here. Those are disconnected, and then hide the joint hierarchy. I've also got this alembic cache of the same animation. So while I could go ahead and just convert these objects to ZIVA bones directly, like this, these two as well, and that's all gonna work. That's gonna be fine. What I'm actually going to do is make a blend shape between the driver bones and the corresponding ZIVA bones. So I'll just remove the ZIVA stuff from those bones there. So under the ZIVA menu, you can remove tissue clotho bone, and then move these out a little bit so it's easier. And the reason we do that, so just make them first. This last one. And the reason we do that is because then it becomes very simple to switch out animations on top of your muscle rig. So what effectively happens is that you simulate the muscles on top of animated bones, right? And it becomes very easy to switch out animations because you can run a script to simply delete the blend shapes running into the ZIVA bones and then import in a new alembic cache and drive your simulation that way. And while technically you can build ZIVA bones and muscles on top of your animation rigs, we try to encourage people not to do that because ZIVA is very interested in seeing what's happening at the subframe level, which is the time between frames. And even the most basic Maya nodes, like an aim constraint, that sort of thing, can introduce graph evaluation cycles, which can cause all kinds of problems at the subframe level. what we encourage people to do is cache out an alembic of the bone animation or the skeleton geometry, like I've done here, and then use that to drive the bones and the muscle rig. And there's a couple of advantages to that. Firstly, that the setup becomes very simple, so it's just an alembic and then a blend shape deformer straight into the ZIVA bone. And then secondly is that your animation rig doesn't require a ZIVA license, which is nice when it comes to production. Okay, so that should be enough to get you started with bones. In the next video we're going to look at attaching muscles to bones and muscles to muscles. Thanks for watching.